Today I want to propose a fun little project for all of you gamers out there. There are so many studies now about the benefits and drawbacks of gaming, but let's test this out for ourselves, shall we? By using this little device, we'll check different statistics during a couple of gaming sessions, we'll have different devices we play on, different games, different time intervals, and we'll try to draw some conclusions at the end. Keep in mind that this is not a scientific review by any means. I'm just a gamer who has this curiosity of testing the stress level when doing different activities, and this is what today's video is all about. So I got over here the Ringconn smartring. For those who are not familiar with devices like this, these are capable of measuring different things like stress level, heart rate, SpO2, skin temperature and others, but also one of the key elements for me, it has sleep tracking. As a first impression, you will say that you can already do that with a smartwatch like the Apple Watch that I got over here, and while that's true, there are some pretty important improvements over a smartwatch which we'll get to in a moment. And before we get into more details, I want to let you know that even though the guys at Ringconn sent this over, you can always count on giving my honest and transparent impressions about the product. Right, so before we go to the statistics, what you need to know about this ring is that it is very light, even the one that I've been using for the past couple of weeks, and actually this is the biggest size they're making. It's made from light titanium and I gotta say that it feels really good in the hand. When you are placing a new order, you only need to specify the color option out of the 3 available ones: black, silver and gold. You don't need to worry about the size, as they will first send a measuring case with 9 different sizes, 6 being the smallest and 14 the largest, which is actually the one I'm having right now. After that, you'll get the actual titanium ring and the nice metallic charging case. And a fun fact, the case has the same shape as the ring, concave on the one side and convex on the other. It's just a nice touch that I wanted to point out. Battery life is actually really good. It can last up to 7 days, and so far I managed to get 6.5 days out of it. The case has a battery as well and can be used to charge the ring around 15 to 18 times. If you do the math, that's up to 126 days, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. The ring connects to your phone through the Ringconn app, available in the App Store and the Google Store, and the really important thing is that it's free. The reason why I'm saying this is because the main competitor, Oura Ring, has a subscription plan inside the app, so you do need to pay monthly in order to use the ring. Ringconn took the better route and provided all of the functionalities for free. And what are those functionalities? Inside the app we have 4 main categories. The first one is the summary, which combines all of the statistics in one place. Then we have sleep, activity and stress. On the top, you can switch back to previous days as well. Let's start off with the stress tab, as this is the main topic for this video. After this section, I'll go ahead and talk about the rest of the functionalities, so please stick around until the end for the full overview. Alright, so for the stress level, using different measurements, the ring is capable of identifying key moments when you are feeling more stressed. So far, I've noticed that whenever I felt I had a moment where I'm more stressed than usual, I've always checked the app, and most of the time I could also see in-app these results, which were signaled through spikes in the stress graph. So I decided to have a full week where I play games at least once a day on one of my consoles. Different type of games, different times, and here are the results. Starting off on Monday, I had a pretty full day at work, so I knew my time was limited. And I really felt that I need to burn off some steam with some Yakuza Like a Dragon on my ROG Ally. This has been my comfort game for a while, and during the day I had 2 quick sessions. One during my lunch break and one just after I finished my job. And to my surprise, I noticed that my stress level really dropped during the exact same time intervals. Some pretty interesting and exciting results so far. This has got me curious to see more. Then on Tuesday, even though I wanted to try out something different, I was very busy all day with work and errands, and I didn't really even feel like playing any games. But wanting to keep this going for the full week, I repeated the process of playing Yakuza once more, expecting the same results. But here's the thing, this time I could actually see an increase while playing the same game. Maybe it was the late hour, or maybe it was something else. I had a hunch, but I wanted more results. Wednesday was a new day and I wanted to try something else, which I was expecting to have an increase in stress level. It was time to do some competitive gaming with a couple of online-only sessions of FIFA 23, Fall Guys and Rocket League. And it wasn't the best day for me, to be honest. FIFA was running really slow for some reason and I actually lost most of my games. And in Fall Guys I was doing fairly good until everything else started to go sideways. I actually didn't know what to expect after the first 2 days, so it was time to check the graphs. Well, this time around we had an increase as well, but the spike was not that high compared to the previous days, and it was pretty constant for the whole time I was playing online games. Thursday was another day filled with bunch of work and my time was limited. Around nighttime, I had some spare time and I decided to try out a different game and console this time, and I played Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on the Nintendo Switch OLED. I did a couple of free roam playing and a couple of side quests, nothing too stressful. Or that's what I thought, but the graph looks to be the opposite actually. The stress level hasn't gone up too much, but it was definitely there. And I was starting to wonder why exactly I'm getting different results than I was expecting. On Friday, I wanted to try out the Yakuza again, as more results will help me better understand what's going on. And surprise surprise, the stress level is again low. So it seems that I am getting different results with the same game. I needed more data. Saturday was finally here and I had a full day of playing video games. Well, this was my 6th day on a charge, so I had to start the day with the quick charge first. And I've played them all. I repeated playing online games, fun games, more stressful games. I even tried Yakuza again, and after many hours of gaming, the graph was fairly linear, with some small exceptions. I managed to identify those time frames as resting periods between games, so this time it seems that I got similar results for all of the games I've tried. And comparing the level with the rest of the day, I can say that I felt more relaxed playing games than doing some other things. But there was one more day to close off the full week. Sunday was a pretty busy day for me and the overall stress level is a bit high altogether, but I did manage to squeeze in a couple of sessions. But I wanted to see if I can bring the stress level even higher. And as of study shows, the genre that is creating more stress than others, well, except for the horror ones, but they're not really my cup of tea. Next is the first-person shooter. And I had in my library a couple of shooters like Halo Infinite Online and the classic CSGO. I played a couple of sessions and make sure to take breaks between the two games. And checking the graph afterwards, even with the stress level being higher that day, I was still able to bring it even higher with this experiment. So the week was finally done and it was time to draw some conclusions. The results were not that easy to interpret at first and I'm still not sure if this is correct or not, but here's what I think happened. In general, gaming is just like any other activity and it will differ from person to person, timing, what you are playing and more. What I mean by that? Well, first of all, let's take the Yakuza Like a Dragon example. As I said, currently this is my comfort game. I just recently started playing it for the first time and I'm having so much fun with it. At least for now, this is the game I go to for a bit of peace and quiet. But the Ringconn is showing different results on different days. And the same thing happened with other games as well. I do think that gaming is capable of relieving some stress, at least for me, but it all comes to timing. From the looks of it, as I had a pretty stressful and full week, some days I didn't really feel like playing any games. I know, I have this kind of day sometimes. If I wasn't doing this experiment, for sure I wouldn't have played daily. So on those stressful days, gaming felt like doing work and not sitting back and relaxing. I believe that's why the stress level is actually going up on those busy days. Of course, these are exceptions, but by the looks of it, some games can and will generate more stress than others. Online games can have a bigger impact on you, but I consider this to be normal in the end. You are more involved in it and you are trying your best to beat the opponents. Are these results relevant and useful? I really don't know. As I said, I just want to have a bit of fun and test this out, and I will continue monitoring the graphs whenever I'm playing, just to see if this conclusion is getting more accurate or not. Oh, and before we move over to the other things that Ringconn can do, I want to say that I did monitor the sleep as well, but I can't really say I can see any impact when it comes to gaming, at least not for me. When I'm tired, it doesn't really matter if I play games before going to sleep. Maybe this isn't the case for you, but I can't speak for others. Now, if you came to this video for this experiment, then I want to let you know that I'll be showing the rest of the functionalities that the Ringconn has, so stick around if you are interested in the rest as well. Now moving over to the sleep tab, this gives you an overview of how your night went and we get a graph with different stages from deep sleep to fully awake. This has helped me in identifying some key factors that are affecting my sleep and I'm still learning this part out. It also shows the heart rate overnight, HRV and the blood oxygen. And you also have a nap feature which I haven't used at all to be honest, as I wasn't able to take any naps in the past 2 weeks. On the top you do have an overall score which helps out in comparing each night with the previous ones, and you can expand to check how this score is calculated. This is actually one of my favorite functionalities of the Ring, as I love checking how I did during sleep time. I know you can do this with a smartwatch as well, but I was never able to wear one while sleeping. Having this around your finger feels so much better and it's not bothering me at all when I sleep. Then moving over to the activity tab, it measures the steps, calories you're actively burning, but also the basal metabolism. Nothing too crazy here, pretty much what you can also get with a smartwatch. This will monitor your heart rate every 2.5 minutes and SpO2 every 5 minutes. What to know here is that there isn't any automatic activity tracker, but I got confirmation that this will come later this year with a free update, along exercise mode and a female cycle monitoring as well. This will set the activity monitor of the heart rate at 10 seconds from what Ringconn is telling me. What I also want to show you is that on the top corner you have this graph icon where you'll find all the statistics that I just mentioned. And you can also trigger manual measures for heart rate and blood oxygen if you want to do this real time. Besides the icon, we also have the general information about the hardware of the ring and also all the manuals that you may need. We also can check the battery percentage and the estimated battery left, but this can also be seen in the Me tab, which is down here. And we also have different settings like the units you want to use, and I prefer metric system, sorry. But there is also an important thing over here under the account security tab. You can actually link this app with the Apple Health or Google Fit, and then you can check all of your results directly in the Apple or Google apps, which you may be a bit more familiar with. So that's the software side, and I want to address a couple of things hardware wise. As I said, this is a titanium ring, pretty scratch resistant from what I could see in these past 2 weeks. I wasn't really gentle with it and I can't really see any scratches on it. It is water resistant and I'm always using it when I'm washing my hands, but I always take it off when I'm taking a shower. Comfort wise, if you are familiar with wearing a ring, then this is no different. I've been married for 7 years and I'm wearing my wedding ring constantly, so I know what to expect. However, my skin has been pretty affected by wearing a ring constantly, so that's why with the Ringconn, I do try to switch it to a different finger pretty often, so I'm not creating any marks. Just something to consider. The Ringconn does not have any vibration motors, so you will not get any notifications on it. So in that sense, it will not be able to fully replace your smartwatch, but that's actually something that I want. This is less distracting to use, but if you are the type of person who wants to be connected 100%, then you may not be able to replace a smartwatch completely from that point of view. So this ring has some pretty impressive functionalities, but there are a couple of things that I would like to improve. For example, the charging case has plenty of charges in it, except the LED light, which without a manual I don't even know what it's indicating. There isn't a way on how to check the battery life inside the app. The automatic activity tracker is something that I love on my Apple Watch, and so far this is still missing. Ringconn has informed me that this will come later this year and I'm looking forward to getting this. Also the lack of GPS, which I can understand why it's missing, but at the same time I think it's a shame we can't really have an accurate visualization of your movements, especially if you are going out for a run without your phone. But I do think these are some minor things, at least for me, but do have them in mind as they may be important for some of you. Alright, I hope you liked my little experiment and thank you if you managed to stick around until the end. If you did, drop a salute emoji and let me know you are still here. And if you like this video, a like and subscribe is helping this channel a lot more than you think. Alright, that's it for this video. Make sure to click next on this one over here, and until next time, this is the Tech Unravel.